Asanteni sana. Tafadhali tuketi. Asanteni sana. Ndugu walimu, hamjambo? Walimu hoye! Bwana Yesu asifiwe. Huyu naibu wangu mnamuonaje? Ni noma si noma? Ni fire si fire? Unajua ukitaka kufaulu, ukitaka kufaulu, unatafuta deputy amesoma kuliko wewe. If you want to succeed, you put people around you who are more intelligent than you. Saa ile wanakusaidia kushine, you take the credit, wao ndio wanafanya job. Si ndio? Nilikuwa na mwingine alikuwa analalamika hajasoma. Nikaona ataniangusha. Lakini ndugu walimu, mimi nawakaribisha. Asanteni sana kwa kubali mwito wangu munitembelee. Hii mkutano ya walimu mimi ndio nimeuliza. Na nimeuliza kwa sababu I have reasons why I want us to have this meeting. Mnanielewa? Najua kumekuwa na maswali mengi. Walimu wanaenda kufanya nini State House? Mbona hii mkutano inafanyika State House? Mbona sijui nini, maswali mingi. Mimi kwa sasa ndio mwenye hii boma. Ndio. Kwa kibali ya Mwenyezi Mungu na kwa kura zenu. Si ndio? Na mwenye kusema nani atakuja hapa na nani asikuje si ni mimi. Sasa nikisema walimu wakuje hapa kuna maswali? Iko maswali? Sasa karibuni. Na mjisikie mko nyumbani. Mimi najua ni mara ya kwanza kwa walimu kufika State House in this manner. Na mimi najua ni kwa sababu walimu wako na shughuli mingi. Kusomesha watoto wetu, kupanga mambo mengi, ndio hamujapata nafasi ya kufika State House. So mimi nasema kwa heshima mlinionipatia, mkawacha kazi zenu nyingi, mkapata nafasi yenu, mkanitembelea. I don't take it for granted and I say thank you very much. Na siku ingine, because I know you are busy people, siku ingine mkipata tena nafasi ingine kidogo, mnaweza kunitembelea. Sindio? So I want to say welcome the teachers of Kenya. And I want to associate myself with the sentiments that have been made by my deputy, that teachers are the greatest patriots and heroes of the Republic of Kenya. Teachers mind about the children of others. They spend sleepless nights thinking about the children of others. And I want to tell you, teachers, on behalf of parents, including myself and the people of Kenya, we are truly grateful for your contribution to the success of our nation. Na leo mimi nataka niseme ya kwamba I have reasons why I've invited you here. Na mimi nataka kidogo, mimi naona my deputy, the CS, wale wameongea, mimi naona kama wako na njama ya kuniharibia mkutano. Sasa tuta imeingilia wapi kwa hii mkutano? Mimi nimewaita hapa, si ndio? Sio kwa sababu ya siasa, hapana. Mimi nimewaita hapa kwa sababu nataka tuongee mambo ya Kenya na mambo ya elimu. Two things. Mnanielewa? Lakini as always, unajua we have a very interesting country. Si ndio? Unajua Biblia inasema mahali kuna wawili wamekutana ama watatu, Mungu yuko kati yao. Si ndio? Lakini Kenya hii mahali wawili ama watatu wamekutana, wanaongea siasa. So mimi nataka niseme hivi. Mimi najua mko na maneno. Si ndio? Ati mingi sana. Mko na maneno mingi sana. Na mimi pia niko na maneno. Ala. Kwani mnafikiri nyinyi mko na maneno na mimi sina? Hata mimi niko na maneno. Vile nyinyi mmekuwa mkinitafuta kwa maneno yenu, mimi pia nimekuwa nikiwatafuta kwa maneno ya Kenya. Sasa leo hapa tumekutana. Si ndio? Nyinyi mtasema yenu na nitawasikiza kwa makini. Na tafadhali mimi naomba nikisema yangu munisikize pia kwa makini. Si ndio? Sasa mimi nataka niwaongeleshe. First, you as citizens and professionals of the Republic of Kenya. That is the conversation I want to have with you. Number two, I want to talk to you about matters education in Kenya. And then number three, I want to listen to you through your officials on the matters that you want me and the government of Kenya to address. And then number three, I want to tell you about the future of Kenya. And number four, I want to respond. Number five, I want to respond to all the issues that you have come to tell me. Na mwisho, nitaketi chini, muniulize maswali. Si ndio? Mnaonaje hiyo lesson plan? Iko sawa? Hiyo lesson plan iko sawa? Iko sawa? Ati exceed expectation. Sasa sikizeni. Mimi niliambiwa na mwalimu, unajua kwanza nawaletea salamu kutoka my former girlfriend, ambaye ni roommate wangu, now my wife, ambaye ni mwalimu kama nyinyi. Amenikumbusha nilete salamu kwenu. Na alikuwa ananiambia lesson plan inaanza from the known. So, have we agreed on hiyo mpango iko sawa? Now, good people, I have called you today here because you are citizens of Kenya. You are intellectuals and professionals. And you will understand what I am telling you better than many people. Are we together? And I want to tell you that where we are today is a product of leadership, is a product of education. And to be able to go forward, it is not so much about money, it is not so much about resources. It starts and stops with leadership. Leadership. And I'm going to talk to you, and I am deliberate about this meeting, because there is a conversation we must have as citizens of Kenya on our present, our past experiences, and the future of this country. We must have that conversation. And I want us to have it because this country is probably the greatest country that God has given to us. And Kenya has huge potential, which if we unlock, this country will change in our lifetime when we are here. Yeah? So, let me start by, you gave me a job through your votes and prayers to be the leader of our country. And I made certain commitments because I believe I've had enough experience. I am very informed, and I have the right age to run this show. So, the first assignment that I had to undertake on behalf of the people of Kenya when I was elected is to stabilize the economy of this nation. You know very well, because you read. Post-COVID, and all the challenges that were there, many economies in the world almost came to its knees. And in our region, Kenya was among the 6 countries in Africa that had the highest debt. We had a $2 billion ticket, the highest in sub-Saharan Africa. And Kenya was rated among the 6 countries that would default on their debt obligations. So when I came into office, I sat in a room there called number 6 with many people, very intelligent people. And we went through the numbers, and it was necessary for us to tighten our belts. We cut back on our budget by 300 billion. We had to stop fuel subsidies. We have to stop unga subsidies. We had to stop many things because the risk of having a debt default is fatal to an economy of a nation. Inflation was at 9.6%. Our dollar reserves was $5.7 billion, only 2.5 months cover, import cover. Many oil marketers were looking for dollars from every bank and they could not find. Our exchange rate to the dollar had risen to 165, 167. So we had to take certain steps. And I was the man on the arena, and I had to make the decisions for us as a nation. And I did make those decisions. And it wasn't easy. And they were painful. But friends, today, I can confidently stand before the teachers of Kenya, our professionals, and tell them, because of those decisions, our inflation has come down from 9.6, it's now 4.5. Our dollar foreign exchange reserves have grown from $5.7 billion. They have now doubled at $11.8 billion. Our exchange rate has come down from 165. We are now, for the last 1.5 years, at 129. You follow news. IMF, 2 months ago, released a report which showed that Kenya had overtaken Angola, had overtaken Ethiopia. Kenya is now the 6th largest economy in Africa. Rating agencies, 3 weeks ago, Standard & Poor's has now elevated Kenya and said we are now debt sustainable. We've moved from rating of B- to B. I can confidently tell you that we are not where we were in 2022. Our nation's economy is now much more stable. There is more to be done. And you will see in the coming months the things we have lined up to do, because we still want to see inflation come down. We still want to see the exchange rate to the dollar come down slightly. And we still want to see our economy begin to grow yet again. So that was the first assignment. And I need to tell you so that you can understand where we are, where we've come from, so that we can design together where we want to go. Number 2, you know very well that agriculture contributes 25% directly to our economy, and with other sectors, including agro-processing, value addition, almost 45% of our GDP. And if we don't fix agriculture, we cannot sustainably drive our economy. It became my assignment, and I told the people of Kenya that I am going to deal with the agricultural sector issues so that we can transform that sector, so that we can achieve food security, we can grow agro-processing and value addition to create jobs, and we can expand our exports and get more money. Where were we in 2022? Unga was at 240. Our sugar industry was in dire straits. The price of coffee was 60. Many farmers were thinking of how to get out of coffee. Many farmers were thinking how to get out of sugarcane growing. Milk was selling at between 32 shillings and 35 shillings. The whole agricultural sector had very high input costs. Fertilizer was at 7,000, 6,500, 7,000. Unanielewa? So what did we have to do? First, I made the decision that we are not going to continue subsidizing consumption. Instead, we are going to subsidize production. And as a result, we put government money in fertilizer subsidy. We put government money in subsidizing our seeds and that sector. That is number 1. Number 2, we worked on getting rid of brokers and cartels and crooks in the agricultural sector. Those of you from Western Kenya, you know what was happening in the sugar industry. Sindio? You know what was happening in the sugar industry? The sugar industry had become captive and hostage to a few characters who determined who gets what, which license is issued, who goes where. And they were so daring and brazen. It took me to tell them, mambo ni matatu. Yes. Ama hamukusikia hiyo story? Yes. Kwani mngetaka nifanye nini? Watu wengine walisema ati nimethreaten watu. Hapana. Si ndio? This coffee sector was also a hostage of a few people. One person was a farmer. He has a license as a miller. He has a license as a broker, and he is the one buying coffee at the Nairobi Coffee Exchange. One person. Undermining everybody and causing confusion and making sure that they make the most money, farmers make the least. Munanielewa? So, we started by registering farmers, because if you want to have clarity on what interventions to carry out, you must work on the basis of data. You must have correct information. You must know. And that is why we started by registering every farmer. Today, I can tell you, in our Kiami's portal, we know we have the registration of every coffee farmer and their acreage, every tea farmer and their acreage, every sugarcane farmer and their acreage, every maize farmer and their acreage, wheat farmer, and on and on and on. We are now finalizing on our livestock farmers. As a result, because we are now working on the basis of data, we reduced the price of fertilizer to 2,500. We registered farmers. We got rid of the cartels. And we created new markets for our products. Today, working with China, we have removed tariffs for our exports of tea, coffee, macadamia, avocados to China. We've done the same with Japan. We are now working on India to create more markets. What are the results? As I talk to you today, the average of price of milk has moved from 35 shillings to between 45 and 50. Those of you who are coffee farmers, you're here. The average price of coffee has moved from 60 shillings in 2022. The average now is 110, 120, up to 140. Sugarcane, where government was putting money every year. The millers, they take farmers' cane, they mill, they sell. They don't pay the farmer for 6 months. They don't pay workers for 2 years. Government has to step in. I can now confidently tell you that we have turned around the sugar sector. From a production of 500,000 tons in 2022, last year, we reached 815,000 metric tons. In the next 2 years, we will reach 1 million tons. And in 3 to 4 years, Kenya will be a net exporter of sugar. We have already licensed 4 new sugar mills because people are beginning to discover that there is money in sugarcane farming. What was undermining that sugarcane farming is lack of transformation, cartels and crooks and people who were doing the wrong things in that sector. For the first time, we paid bonus to sugarcane farmers in Mumias. And I promise you, end of this year, we will do the same in Zoya, we will do the same in Chemelil, we will do the same in Moroni, we will do the same in Soni. We are not only turning around the sugarcane sector, farmers will make more money, and we will save as a country on foreign exchange. We don't have to import sugar. The net effect of our agricultural transformation is that maize farmers are making more money. You know, we raised the production of maize. Imagine we were importing a lot of maize into Kenya from all over the place. We were producing an average of 40 million bags. Last year, we produced 65 million bags. This year, by God's grace, our analysis, because we got better rains and we got better supply of fertilizer, we intend, our estimate is that we will get 75 million bags this year. What has happened? We have reduced by 70% imports of maize. We have reduced by 70% imports of sugar. And we have doubled our exports of dairy products. What am I saying? That sector is undergoing transformation. And I want to promise you that the 500 billion, imagine, 500 billion Kenya shillings we use every year to import food in the country. We've now cut it down from 500 billion to 300 billion. Our intention is that in the next 3 to 4 years, we will bring our import bill of food from that 500 billion, we are now at 300, we will bring it to zero. Because we can produce all our food in Kenya. We'll save on foreign exchange and we will put money in our farmers' pockets. Mnanielewa? Number 3, we agreed that we want to reform our education sector. You know, in 2022, citizens were not sure about CBC. In fact, as I campaigned in many parts of the country, parents, citizens were saying, let us abolish CBC. Ni kweli ama si kweli? Si ilikuwa namna hiyo? So my first assignment when I arrived here is to set up a presidential working party. Because if there is one thing we must never get wrong, is education. Because if we get it wrong in education, we fail as a country. That presidential working party worked with our manifesto. They looked at the areas, they listened to teachers, and I want to congratulate the teachers of Kenya. You became the largest contributors of ideas that today informs what we are doing. What has happened because of that engagement? Number 1, deliberately, by the way, and for your information, very few people can dare reform the education sector because it's a very sensitive area. A friend of mine told me this education sector is very sensitive. Parents are very particular about their kids. If you touch this sector, it is going to be something else. But I said, unless we get it right in the education sector, everything else will go wrong. So we went through this together. We can now tell you, and you are the masters in that field, CBC now has more clarity than it ever had. The transition of our kids is now clear, and I want to thank you for supporting that sector. Number 2, I have increased the budget from the education sector from 540 billion in 2022. This year, it is at 702 billion. The largest increase in funding in the education sector in Kenya. And I'm not doing it because of guesswork. I am deliberate and intentional because I know any investment we make in the education sector is not an expenditure. It is an investment because we will get returns from it. You know very well, your teachers, we had huge gaps in our classrooms. Every administration was hiring 5,000 teachers every year. True or not true? That was the norm. We're hiring 5,000 teachers every year. I decided that we must do it differently. And I want to thank you very much because you understood what I was saying. You allowed us as government to hire huge numbers of teachers, even though we started with interns, because it was necessary for us first to have teachers in classroom, get them out of the streets, balance the money we have. And today, I can confidently say in this teachers meeting that we are slowly closing the gap on teacher-student ratio. We now have 76,000 teachers teaching. In January, we will have 100,000. And by 2027, we will have 120,000 teachers hired. Sasa mimi nataka niwaulize, kwa sababu nyinyi mnajua hesabu. Yeah? Other administrations have been hiring 5,000 teachers every year, right? We have hired by January 100,000 teachers in 3 years. Ni kweli ama si kweli? Sasa nyinyi kwa hesabu yenu, 100,000 teachers, kama tungeendelea na ile mpango ya zamani ya 5,000 teachers every year, how long will it take us to hire 100,000 years? 20 years. So teachers that were supposed to be hired in 20 years, we have hired in 3 years. Ni kweli ama si kweli? Tunaelewana? On top of it, we have put money to have more classrooms. We have now built in the last 3 years 23,000 classrooms. And I want to thank members of parliament who are here, the chair of the committee and all the committee members. They have worked with me to make sure that we provide resources through CDF and through government resources to hire, to build more classrooms, because classrooms and teachers form the foundation of learning. Then we can input the rest of the things in between. Tumekubaliana ndugu zangu walimu. On top of that, it was necessary for us to look at funding. And I am happy that we are going to be discussing later. I have seen in some of the asks you are going to ask me how we can enhance funding. But we had to start from somewhere. We had serious problems with our universities. Most of our universities, actually 23 of our universities, had been declared insolvent. Egerton University, Nairobi University, Kenyatta University. Most of our universities, Moi University was almost dead. Most of our universities were paying salaries, half salary. They were not remitting pay as you earn, NSSF and all those. We had a big crisis. And let me tell you, good people, the reason why I had to take a very informed stand on matters education is that if you want to destroy a nation, go to education and do the wrong things. Because for past so long, our universities were struggling. And it was not right, because what was happening is that we were sending so many kids to university. We're not providing the resources. They had to begin to cut corners. And ultimately, we were going to have half-baked graduates. And that is the reason why we had to have the difficult conversation on funding in our education, especially our higher education. I can now confidently stand before you today that our higher education, ask any vice chancellor, the new student-centered model has increased resources available for teaching at the university. In 2022, the maximum was 45 billion. If you go to this year's budget, it is 82 billion shillings, from 45 billion to 82 billion shillings this year. Universities can now pay salaries in full. They can pay their tax obligations. They can pay their suppliers. And slowly, we are bringing to the rails our university education. Our TVETs, the numbers in 2022, we had 340 students in TVET. Now we have 720, and I have agreed with the ministry that we want to have 2 million by 2027. in our Tibets. And by the way, it is intentional. And I will tell you why. I'm going to tell you why. Number 5, we have been thinking of an open university of Kenya for many years. Many countries have done it. I tried to do it when I was Minister for Education. I was moved, or was it fired before I could finish it. So, but I had promised that when I get an opportunity, this is one thing I wanted to do. Today, I can confidently tell you, we have the Open University of Kenya at Konza. We now have 10,000 students in the Open University of Kenya. Students at the Open University of Kenya. In fact, it will be the largest university by end of this year. That is what education. We must provide all pathways for us to open opportunities for citizens to learn. And I'm going to tell you shortly why education is important. If we have to move Kenya to the next level, education is at the center. Number 4. We have to sort out health. You know for a very long time that many people sold their houses, their property, their livestock, their plots, around this etc. for matters health. Some decided to stay at home and die because they don't know how they will pay if they go to hospital. Many Kenyans died of illnesses that could be treated, but because there was no mechanism. And that is why we undertook to say, let us have a paradigm shift in the delivery of health in Kenya. And this is not a conversation that started last year. Universal health coverage was in the NAC manifesto. Professor Anyang' Nyong'o was Minister for Health. He tried, he did not succeed. Universal health coverage was in the Grand Coalition. Charity Ngilu tried, we did not succeed. Universal health coverage was in the Jubilee Manifesto. It was among the big 4. Our minister then, Cecily Kariuki, we tried, we did not succeed. Strangely, in the last election, universal health coverage was in the Kenya Kwanza Manifesto, and it was also in the Azimio Manifesto. Unanielewa? So it is something we agree, all of us, that it is something to be done. But nani atafanya ndio kizungumkuti. So that's why this time round, I said, whatever it takes. Niitwe Zakayo, niitwe nani, ni sawa, lakini this thing, we must do it. Mnanielewa, my friends? You know, I can never have a better meeting than this. This is a meeting of intellectuals. Sindio? And that is why I must take time to explain to you, because you understand what I'm saying. So what did we do? We changed the structure of delivery of health, because why we failed in NAC, why we failed in Grand Coalition, why we did not succeed in Jubilee, is because we didn't have a sound legal foundation. Because universal health is not a roll of the mill, it's not a simple thing. It is probably the biggest project a government can undertake, because it involves every citizen
health is not a sectional issue. Health is a national issue. So we changed the law. From one law of NHIF, we now have 5 pieces of legislation. We have passed 4. There is one now in the works in Parliament. We changed the funding structure. We've changed the delivery structure. And now I can confidently tell you, for the last 1 year, which we have implemented universal health coverage under SHA. It's been difficult, but you are beginning to see the results. SHA is beginning, there was initially, it's not working. And then it came to, it is working, but. So we are moving. Yeah? We are going to remove the buts. And I want to promise you, we are determined. SHA, universal health coverage, must work. Because the Constitution of Kenya, Section 43, says health is a constitutional right of every citizen. It is not a privilege for those who have money or those who can afford. Unaelewana marafiki zangu? So, we're implementing universal health coverage. NHIF had 7 million contributors. SHA now we are at 27 million Kenyans registered. It was a preserve for a few. We are now agreed that number 1, we are changing even the financing structure. The old NHIF, the low cadre of people, you know, wale watu wa chini huko, the lowest was 500 shillings. 500 shillings is for the people whose income is between 3,000 and 5,000 a month. Assuming even it is 5,000. If you tell somebody who is earning 5,000 a month to pay 500, what percentage is that? 10%, right? 500 is 10% of 5,000, sindio? So, the poor people, the people at the bottom of the pyramid, we are telling them, pay 10% of your income. And then mimi napata 1.2 million. Hawa wadosi wameketi hapa wanapata 1,100,000, 700,000, 800,000. Sisi ambao ni wadosi hapa, sitaki kusema yenu. Sindio? Sisi tunalipa, tulikuwa tunalipa 1,700. If you do a percentage of 1.2 million, 1,700, it is 0.01%. Sasa, good people, you are intellectuals. The poor are paying 10%. The rich are paying 0.00. Is there any fairness? Is there any logic? Tunaelewana? So what did we decide? We said, let's have equity. Let us be fair. Let us have a standard figure. Let everybody pay 2.75%. Mama mboga na wale wengine wateremuke from 10% wakuje 2.75%. Na sisi tutoke huko 0.0 sijui ngapi tukuje 2.75%. Tunaelewana? Now from 1,700 I used to pay, now I pay 40,000 every month. Mama mboga yake imeteremuka from 500, kuna wenye tutawalipia na kuna wenye watakuja 300. Now the base is 300. We're trying to create an element of fairness. Na hiyo ndio makelele mimi napigiwa kwa hii town. It's because, you know, we're just trying to be fair, good people. Why is anybody against fairness? So what has happened? We are raising more money. We used to raise 2.6 billion. Now we are raising 7 billion shillings every month to deal with health. And now we have put money in the budget. We've said citizens, and I want to tell you, and I'm going to discuss with you your own medical scheme later, because these people are going to ask me. Tunaelewana? Yes, and I'm going to tell you what we are going to do on your medical bill. Because today, access for teachers is 7%. Access for civil servants is 14%. Ni mnanielewa? So there is something wrong with your with the medical cover. And I know these good people, these representatives of yours, they have already captured it. And I am going to tell you how we are going to solve it. Tunaelewana marafiki zangu? So I can now confidently tell you that SHA is working. We are going to make it work better. You can now hear testimonies of citizens who are telling you SHA paid for me 20,000, 50,000, 100,000, 500,000 and all that. Something that we used not to hear before. And it is just 1 year. In fact, tutafikisha 1 year, tutafikisha 1 year October. Ni mnanielewa? What we are also going to do, we are going to get rid of crooks. You know, wale wakora matapeli wanaibia sisi pesa ya wagonjwa. Just imagine, good people, I must tell you this. Just imagine there was a hospital here in Kino, naitwa St. Catherine, hapo. Ati walikuwa wanafanya operations more than Kenyatta Hospital. Pale Kino. So we became interested. It must be a very big hospital, doing all this. Kufika pale Kino, iko kwa kona. Second floor kwa kona. Watu wamejazana hapo ndani. There is no upasuaji going on. Ni kujaza makaratasi tu ya fake claims. Na wanajaza hata bila akili. Yani wana mtu mmoja wana file claim amekuwa amputated. Next week amekuwa amputated. The next week amekuwa amputated. Sasa unakuta mtu mmoja amekatwa miguu 10 times. Unashangaa kwani huyu mtu alikuwa na miguu ngapi? Ni mnanielewa? You know, open theft. Kulikuwa na mwingine huko Eldoret. Ako na hospitali kubwa hapo. Lakini kwa hiyo hospitali there are more accountants than doctors. Sasa unajiuliza accountants wanafanya nini kwa hospitali? I thought we needed more people, more nurses, clinical officers. Fake claims. That is why when we were closing NHIF, there were debts of 32 billion. 32 billion madeni ya ukora. So tukawaambia, okay, we are ready to pay this debt. Leteni makaratasi tufanye verification. Waziri akagazette verification committee so that we can pay you your claims. Wakaenda kotini kusimamisha verification. What does that tell you? The claims are fake. Because if you genuinely have a claim, why don't you want it verified? Useme, I tweeted so and so, these are the numbers. Ndio huyo mtu nilitweet, ndio huyo nilifanya, ndio huyo nilifanya. So, what we have done now, admission is on a digital platform. Discharge is on a digital platform. We are now moving to biometrics. An ID is not going to be enough. Fika hospitali, weka kidole, tunajua huyu ni mtu fulani, endelea. Kwa sababu wengine hata wanachukua ID ya mtu amekufa anakuja kufanyia ukora. Tunaelewana jameni? Running Kenya is a difficult job. Unajua saa zingine watu wako na akili ni very difficult Quran kwa sababu wanapanga akili kitu mzuri na pia wanapangia akili mambo mengine ya kombo. Tunaelewana? So all I want to tell you is that we will deal with fraud, we will deal with fake claims. You saw an incident in Mumias juzi. Simuliona kwa magazeti sijui. Bishop moja amesimama hapo amesema hii watu ni bure kabisa. Hii SHA hakuna kitu. Karibu tunafunga hospitali. We cannot pay our workers. SHA wamelipa sisi only 9 million. Na tumeweka claims juu ya karibu 100 million. Nikaona sasa askofu ako na kola. Nikasema this must be serious. Nikapigia waziri. Niambia waziri, umesikia maneno ya huyu askofu? Amesema Musalia amesema uongo, hakuna tujapatiwa pesa. Nikamwambia mniletee data. Aletewa data. Ndio hii cash transfer, electronic transfer ya pesa, bank ndio hii, nini ndio hii. Nikamwambia waziri, please enda kwa hiyo hospitali Mumias. Tunataka kusaidia askofu. Wengine askofu wako na ukweli. Kufika Mumias, askofu amepatiwa, bwana askofu, ndio hii makaratasi. Siku fulani ulilipwa pesa fulani, mpaka tukaita bank manager wao. Bank manager ana confirm tulipata hii pesa. Ya hiyo hospitali inaitwa sijui St. Mary's. Tulipata 98 million. Ni mnanielewa? Askofu ndio huyo, I'm sorry, I was misled. Really? You know? Ni mnanielewa? Wenye kumwambia askofu hiyo story yote ni watu yake kwa hospitali wameiba from his own hospital. Ni mnanielewa marafiki zangu? So we are going to deal with fraud. Mutasikia makelele, but it is because if we don't deal with fraud, we will not succeed in anything. So I just want to confirm to you, we are going to make sure that health sector works. Lastly, because I just needed to give you a small brief of the assignment you gave me as the President of Kenya. Lastly, it matters to create jobs for our young people. And you know, jobs don't happen. They are as a result of deliberate, intentional policy decisions. That's how you create jobs. That's how jobs are created everywhere in the world. So, we have 4 pathways that we intentionally decided we are going to pursue for us to get young people. As we invest in education, we must also find pathways for them to be meaningfully engaged. So number 1 is our housing program. Many people ask me, wewe, nani alikuambia tunahitaji manyumba? Si kila mtu uko kwake. Simulisikia hiyo story. Who told you? But let me ask you, good people. Sindio? If you look at the manifestos of all parties for the last 30 years, housing was a permanent fixture. Housing, my friend, former Prime Minister, alianza the first slum upgrading during the clan coalition government hapa. Ndio? Because housing was part of the plan then. Jubilee Manifesto, for those of you who are in Jubilee, among the big 4, one of them was housing. In this last election, hii election imepita, manifesto ya Kenya Kwanza ilikuwa na housing. Manifesto ya Azimio ilikuwa na housing. Complete with 1.5% levy. Ilikuwa kwa go and read the manifesto ya Azimio. Sasa sisi wote tunakubaliana this is something what we must do. And we must do housing for 4 reasons. Number 1, we have 7 million people living in slums. Urbanization is a reality we must live with. The future is urban. Whether you like it or not, by 2050, half our population, half the world's population, including that of Kenya, will be living in cities. So either they come to live in cities, in slums, or we begin to make sure that there is decent housing. Ni mnanielewa? So, na hii housing tulikuwa naye tangu zamani. So when it came to Jubilee, mimi na Uhuru Kenyatta, my boss, tukasema we must implement this thing. Tukapitisha sheria, tukapanga ile mambo yote. Kwanza my friend Uhuru akaniambia, I have a very good person, a very good professional, ako South Africa, anaitwa Charles Hinga. Tuende tumtafute. Tukaenda tukamtafuta huyu Hinga, tukamlete. Tukamfanya PS housing. Tukasukuma gurudumu, tukaenda bunge. Kila kitu iko tayari. Levi ikaanza, kelele ikaanza. Sasa kelele. Sasa one morning Uhuru akanipigia simu, William, kuja. Yes, Bwana President. Akaniambia, wewe, siwe uko na nyumba? Bwana President, mimi niko na nyumba. Sasa hii kelele yote hii tunapigiwa, hii ni ya nini? Kama watu wataki hii mambo ya housing wakwende, wacha hii kitu ipotee. Housing ikazamia hapo. Nyinyi mnanielewa? Shida, last election, manifesto ya Jubilee ya Kenya Kwanza, housing. Manifesto ya Azimio, housing. Si ndio? Si mimi nimekakuja nikasema, wacha ni hii kitu imetusumbua muda mrefu. Let me be the one to bail the cat. Si ndio? Housing ndio hiyo, tumepitisha, wabunge wamenisaidia wamepitisha, kila kitu iko tayari, levy ndio hiyo. Kelele. Takayo, kotini, sijui wapi, maandamano. Lakini mimi nikasema, acha watu wanifanyie maandamano. What is the problem? We must do this thing. Kama namna gani, my friends? Si ndio? Because transformation is not easy. Transformation is not a walk in the park. Transformation is not necessarily popular. Ama tunakubaliana namna gani? So, nimekaa ngumu. Ndio hiyo housing take place. Kotini tumepelekwa, tunajaribu kukatakata kuona huko na makotini. Makesi mingi. Leo, friends, we are building 170,000 houses in Kenya. 400 markets are being built. 172,000 units of hostels in our universities, TVETs, and Kenya Medical Training Centers are underway in Kenya. 320,000 young people are working. By end of this year, we will have 600,000 people working. By end of next year, we will have 1 million people working. Architects, quantity surveyors, engineers, plumbers, technicians, artisans, electricians, masons, what name them. The whole industry around cement production is up almost double. Steel production is up almost double. Transportation and everybody in between. Our economy today is recording strides because of affordable housing. Ni mnanielewa? Today they are feasible. I challenge you, those of you who live in Nairobi, go to Mukuru, go and see. Go to Kakamega. There is no town in Kenya today that affordable housing is not the largest estate. From Mandera, Kitui, Machakos, Nairobi, Kiambu, Embu, Nyeri, all the way. I was in Kisumu, I was in Homa Bay, go to Migori, go to, my friends. And what you are seeing today is just work of 1.5 years. Explain to me, in 10 years, in 20 years, I promise you, you will not recognize Kenya. Yes. Nyinyi mnanielewa? That is what is called transformation. Sasa nyinyi, kama ningepigiwa kelele, nifanyiwe maandamano, niwachane na hii program ya housing, how are we going to transform this nation? Explain to me. How are we going to change this nation? Tuendelee tu na ile mambo ya zamani? Niendelee tu kupigiwa makofi so that ni watu wafurahi? What is that? Mnanielewa? And I am talking to you this way because you are intellectuals, you understand what I am saying. You can see what I'm saying. Today we are going to sign here an MOU so that teachers can get 20% of all the housing we are constructing in Kenya. Yes. Sijui kama tunaelewana. Tuko pamoja? Walimu. So, listen. That is how we change a nation. That is how you change a nation. Number 2, we are working on making sure that apart from creating jobs in this space, and my target is that we will create 1 million jobs in this space, we must create another 1 million jobs on our digital platform. Digital jobs is another avenue. We are currently rolling out fiber optic infrastructure in Kenya. We have done 24,000 kilometers. We want to get it to 100,000 kilometers. We want every ward. Unanisikia? If you go to Tatu City, Kenda ba Tatu City, I was there last year. Na nilienda kufungua one building that has 5,000 young Kenyans working for American companies from Ruiru here. They are working for American companies, digital jobs from Ruiru here. We are rolling out fiber optic because we want an ICT hub in every ward in the Republic of Kenya. And I will tell you, that is what it is. We want to roll out. We can also create 1 million jobs already from places like Tatu City and all the ICT hubs and the Jitume hubs. We have already 180,000 young people monetizing their talent, earning money in the digital space. We want to create 1 million of those young people in the digital space. Number 3, because of teachers and because of our teaching, we have the best human capital anywhere in the world. Foreign companies, if you give them a choice between hiring a Kenyan and hiring any other person, they will want to hire a Kenyan. Why? We speak good English. Kenyans require very little supervision. You know? This is information foreign companies are telling us. We have the right work ethic. Wakenya ni watu wa kujituma. And that is why I am proud to be a president of Kenya. You know? Najua watu wa Kenya ni wa kujituma. Kazi yako ni kuzuia tu wasipitishe ukiwaambia barabara ni hii. Utaenda mbele tu kuambia hapana piga kona. You see? So, what is happening? So, many people began to take advantage because many companies are looking for Kenyan workforce globally. So we had these recruiting agencies. They realized that there is an opportunity. They began to take advantage. Unakuta mtu amechukuliwa pesa yake, unaenda Saudi Arabia, unakuta ile kazi uliambiwa sio hiyo. Unaenda mahali ingine, unaenda unadhulumiwa. Unaenda mahali ingine, unaenda unaumizwa. Ile pesa uliambiwa utalipwa unakuta sio hiyo. So when we came in, we straightened what we call National Employment Authority. Tukafukuza hawa employment recruiting agencies, almost 1,000 of them, that were crooks. We have streamlined that space. We have streamlined the registration of recruiting agencies. We have signed bilateral labor agreement with countries where Kenyans go to work. That bilateral labor agreement gives us the knowledge. Now we know any Kenyan who is going to work in UAE, Saudi Arabia, Germany, France, America, wherever, Austria. Now we know what job are they doing, how much money are they being paid, and we have refused in certain instances that if you are not paying this amount, we have a minimum. We are not going to allow a Kenyan to go out of the country to go and earn 5,000. We have a minimum pay that we demand from those countries. If you have a job to work outside, we have created a green channel. If you have a job, a letter of employment in a foreign country, your passport takes 2 to 3 days, you have it. We have created a green channel. As a result, because you have heard me keep talking about export of labor or labor mobility, Africa is going to provide the largest workforce globally by 2050. Because other countries have aging populations. So between 2023 and today, 2 years, 430,000 Kenyans are working abroad. Every month, we send between 7,000 and 8,000 Kenyans every month. We know their names, we know where they're going to work, we know how much money they're going to earn, and we know when they get into trouble how to get them back home. I told you, jobs are as a result of deliberate government policy. They don't just happen. We have to organize policy and direct resources in the right place. Today, those who cannot afford to pay a ticket through National Youth Development Fund, we can now advance them money, which they pay within 6 months, for them to buy tickets, them to pay whatever they want to pay, go work abroad, send us money, grow the country. What has happened? We have increased foreign remittance by $1 billion. It was $4 billion in 2022. This year, it was $4.9 billion US. Because of millions of Kenyans who are working abroad and they are sending money back home. It is the reason why our reserves at Central Bank are growing. Good people. I was talking about jobs. Jobs because of housing, markets, hostels, jobs through digital jobs, jobs using export of labor. These are deliberate intentions, and we can quantify how many people have gotten jobs. It's no longer a game of guesswork. I have told you this story. Now I'm going to tell you one, kidogo, because I want to persuade you as intellectuals that this country has tremendous potential, and we can change this country from a third world to a first world in our lifetime. That is the conversation I want to have with you. Yeah? And I want to give you a context. Malaysia, Singapore, South Korea were at the same level of development, more or less, like Kenya in 1963. In fact, let me specifically, and I want you to go and read. Take some time. Read about South Korea. South Korea in 1963 was exactly like Kenya in terms of education. They are an agricultural economy like us. The level of education was like ours. Their GDP per capita was actually 78, Kenya's was 80. Were the same in 1963. Today, South Korea, their GDP per capita is 20 times that of Kenya. Ni mnanielewa? 20 times. Our GDP per capita is $2,200. Theirs is close to 40,000. Ni mnanielewa? Malaysia, Singapore, and I invited the president of Singapore, alikuja kunitembelea hapa 2023. They were almost at the same level with us. Today, Singapore has 95%, almost actually 98% of their citizens are homeowners. Kenya, 7 million people are living in slums. You see the difference? 98% of their citizens are homeowners. Where to 7 million are in slums. Forget about home ownership. Home ownership ndio hii sasa tunapanga na affordable housing. Singapore was a slum like Kibera yetu hii. Watu walikuwa wanapika pombe, wako na nguruwe hapo, wako na kuku mbili. If you see the pictures, if you see the pictures, yeah, Singapore, it is exactly Kibera. Today, Singapore is in the first world. Their GDP per capita is 156,000. Yetu ni 2,200. Ni mnanielewa? What is the difference? Leadership only, nothing else. Leadership ndio imeleta hiyo difference. And I'm talking to leaders here today, you. Mnanielewa? I'm talking to you as leaders. We can change this country. China moved from being one of the poorest countries in the world to the second largest economy in 30 years. Why am I telling you this? I am trying to persuade you that it is doable. It is doable. You are the intellectual community of Kenya. If Kenya is going to change, you are the agents of that change. My friends, teachers, this is the reason I called you here today. Because we, as the leaders, we are the ones standing between Kenya, between today and Kenya being a first world country. We are the reason. Whatever it is that we do will determine whether Kenya becomes first world or Kenya continues to be a third world. And if you had any doubt in your mind that this is doable, let me give you some examples of what is possible to be achieved if we make the right decisions. Number one, those countries have learned the practice of savings. China's savings as a percentage of a percentage of GDP is 55. Kenya's percentage of savings as a percentage of GDP is 10. Which means everything we get, we consume. We forget that there is tomorrow and there is the day after. Mnanielewa? It is so bad that we tried in 2016 with my friend Uhuru Kenyatta. We said we must change this because we are embarrassed. Even our neighbors, just imagine, good people, Uganda is half our economy. Sindio? Uganda is half of the economy of Kenya. But they have 3 times, maybe 4 times, a bigger national security fund than Kenya. Why? Because for 40 years, tumekuwa tukicontribute shilingi 200 kwa NSSF, 200 shillings. Mtu ana earn 50,000, 200 shillings. Mtu ana earn 100,000, 200 shillings. Mtu ana earn 200 shillings. Na contribute 200, employer ana contribute 200. Uganda, 20 years ago, they changed the law. Employee 10%, employer 5%. Tanzania, they changed the law. Employee 8%, employer 7%. Nyinyi mnanielewa? Today, Uganda has a bigger social security fund than Kenya. They have a bigger savings kitty than Kenya. Tanzania, which is 60% of our economy, has a bigger social security fund than Kenya. In fact, Tanzania social security fund is building a 23, I don't know, 24 building here in Upper Hill. Mimi niliulizwa niende nianzishe. Nyinyi mnanielewa? Sisi tuko pale kwa 200. That is why when I came into office, unajua tulipitisha sheria because we had said let every employee contribute 6%. Let the employer contribute 6%. So, and all that money becomes the money of the employee. We passed the law in 2016. Rafiki yetu Atwoli akatupeleka kotini. Ikakwama kotini. Ikakaa huko kotini, left, right and center. Wakati siku karibu tumkamate, akafanya njama, unajua ni mtu mwerevu. Akakuwa rafiki ya Uhuru Kenyatta. Sasa kutafuta njia kwa ngumu. Akakaa hapo. Sasa Mungu ni nani? Si mimi nimekuwa rais? My friend, sikuchelewa. 2 weeks nikaita Atwoli, hebu kuja. Tukaketi chini na yeye, habari mzee, namna hiyo mzuri kabisa. Sasa wewe hii kesi iko kotini, unataka tuendelee ku 200 for how long? Do you know the damage we are doing to ourselves? Other countries are making progress. Sisi tunaenda kukopa pesa China because we have refused to save our own money. Nyinyi mnanielewa? Atwoli akawa mzee mungwana, akanisikiza, akaniambia nimekubali. Kesi ikatoka kotini. Kila mtu sasa analipa 6% NSSF. Employers wenu wanalipa 6%. Do you know what? Let me give you the statistics now. From independence to 2013, we had raised 320 billion. From independence to 2023, hii ya juzi, not 2013. And I want you to mark the numbers. From independence to 2023, we had raised 320 billion. In the last 2 years, we have raised another 320 billion. We have doubled our 60 years of savings in just 2 years. By end of next year, actually by 2027, we will have 1 trillion shillings at NSSF. Tell me what is going to happen in 5 years. Tell me what is going to happen in 10 years. Tell me what's going to happen in 20 years. The net effect, we will not be borrowing money from China. We will be borrowing our own money, doing roads, doing water, paying our own people, growing our own economy. What am I trying to tell you? I'm trying to tell you it is possible. You know, kuna mtu amekufa hapa kwa sababu amecontribute 6% to NSSF. Many of you even are not aware I am the one telling you. Munanielewa? That is how you change a country. Look at what we have done in housing. I'm just giving you, let me give you 3 examples. Why I believe we can move this country from a third world to a first world in our lifetime. What have we done in NSSF? I've just given you the numbers. Look at what we have done in housing. Today, we have issued contracts for markets, for hostels, for housing, worth 600 billion. 600 billion. Not money borrowed from anybody. Our own resources. That whole housing thing you see, not a single shilling has been borrowed from anywhere. If you had asked me to go and look for 600 billion shillings to come and do housing, ningetembea na magoti in all the towns and all the cities, and I would not get it. Taenda Marekani, wende NSSF, wende ile ingine inaitwa ni IMF, wende ingine inaitwa World Bank, you will not get it. But look at what our own resources, from our own money, look at what we can do. Look at what we have done in health. Do you know how much health, how much money has been made available in health? From our own contributions in SHA, we're going to have something like 90 billion every year. From our own resources in equipment, we have mobilized, we have designed innovative, creative mechanism of delivery of equipment. We are now taking equipment to hospitals worth 200 billion shillings. Not equipment we are paid for, equipment we have structured, how they are going to deploy their own equipment, we pay them for service, and we make sure that we deliver health. So we are mobilizing close to 300 billion shillings, using our own money, using our own intellectual capacity to deploy and to provide health to our citizens. Look at what we have done in education. Look at what we have done in roads. Today, we are moving all the road contractors that had stalled back to the roads. Why? Because we used our own creativity. With these members of parliament, we securitized some of the revenues we had. We raised 175 billion. We are on the road raising another 120 billion. We will have 300 billion shillings to do roads in Kenya. Money we have not borrowed from IMF or World Bank, our own resources. Good people, I am telling you, it is possible for us to change this country in our lifetime. And I want to persuade you, and this is the reason why I called you, as intellectuals, I want to persuade you that we agree that we can change, we move Kenya from third world to first world in the next 30 years. If South Korea could do it, we can do it. If Singapore could do it, we can do it. And we have demonstrated, I have shown you that it is possible. Hii makelele tulikuwa tunapigiana hapa na maandamano, you can see the results in housing. You can see the results in education. Why are we hiring 100,000 teachers? Other administrations did not. Why are we deploying universal health coverage when it was difficult the other day? Why are we rolling out housing when it was difficult the other day? Why are we transforming our social security savings, doubling in 2 years when it was not possible the other day? I just want to persuade you, it is not about William Ruto. It is about Kenya and us and changing our country for the sake of this generation and the generations to come. Friends, marafiki, sijui kama mmenielewa. Mmenielewa? Na hii sio siasa. Forget about politics. Politics is small, hiyo ni maneno kidogo. We have a whole country to think about. We have the future of our nation to think about. We can stop, you know, we be able to everybody, you know. And I can tell you 3 things are important: leadership, education, and we must stop corruption. Kenya will change in our lifetime. And I have every intention to do my bit. I'm asking you to do yours. I'm asking you to help me. Let us work together for us to change Kenya. Sijui kama tumeelewana, my friends. Mimi nawaomba kwa unyenyekevu. You know, and I called you here so that we can begin to discuss, to have a conversation about this Kenya. The possibilities that are available in Kenya. This is the most non-tribal gathering. You know? This is not about a political party. This is not about a political side. This is about Kenya. And shortly, we're going to, I want us to have this conversation as a country. This is a conversation I have had with former Prime Minister Raila Odinga. This is a conversation I have had with my friend Uhuru Kenyatta. Because we must stop partisan things, sectional, you know. It is possible for all of us to do well. Please, good people, this is why I called you. Yeah? I really wanted to have this conversation with you. To tell you, and I wanted to call this conversation, to have this conversation with you now. Because if I had this conversation with you 3 years ago, you would tell me housing is not possible. You would tell me universal coverage is not possible. You would tell me reforming NSSF is not possible. Nikasema wacha kwanza nianze na makelele na nini na maandamano, lakini ili nikiwaita, you are witnesses of what is happening. When I tell you we can transform our education sector, we can hire 100,000 teachers, musiniambie mbona wale wengine hawakufanya. Now you know it is possible, don't you? You know it's possible. Ama namna gani? Because it's been done. And that is why I have big difficulties, because we have a disconnect. Because citizens are accustomed to things not working. So that even when they work, they still want to believe they have not worked. You know? Ndio unaona hata saa hizi bado tuko na viongozi wengine wanasema watakuja kuabolish housing. Oh, tutakuja kuabolish universal. Yani ujinga. Yani you have no better plan. You don't know how to move the country forward. Unataka kuturudisha nyuma. You know? So really, marafiki, I really wanted to talk to you. I told you, I want to talk to you as a leader, and I want to talk to you as citizens and intellectuals of the Republic of Kenya. That is the conversation I want us to have. We are going to move this conversation forward. We will not believe the naysayers. You know, there are many people who are negative. They never see anything. Oh, tumesikia hiyo. Oh, hiyo ni uongo. Oh, hiyo nini. You know, those things. But you see, we can change this country. And I have great faith that we can do it together. Tunaelewana? As the lawyers say, I rest my case. Nimemaliza. Sawa sawa ndugu zangu. Asanteni sana, tuketi. Now, let me come to si nilikuwa na lesson plan. Acha nikuje sasa niwaambie in brief what we have been able to do in the education sector. I have explained in my other presentation. I just want to take you through quickly. I've explained to you that transforming education was not a political issue. Transforming education was deliberate because through education, whether you look at Korea, whether you look at Singapore, whether you look at Malaysia, intellectuals, the capacity for people to understand things, education was at the center of their own transformation. And that is why I took matters education seriously, because I knew that it is going to be part of the levers that we are going to use if we were to move Kenya to the first world. That is why the budget of education was 540 in 2022. As I told you, now we are at 702 billion. We've hired teachers the way you know. We built classrooms, as I have told you. We have done a funding model changed the funding model to put more resources in our universities. We have started the Open University of Kenya. We have increased the number of tutors in our TVETs from about 3,600. We have moved it to now from 6,900, to now 10,000. And we are hiring another 3,000 or 4,000 in the coming budget. We have moved the number of private sector companies that are now working with our TVETs. We've moved them. We used to have 65. Now we have 2,800 different companies providing training, internship for our students in TVET. It is our intention by 2027 to move the number of students in our technical, vocational, and training institutes from 340 in 2022. We are now at 720. We will have 2 million by 2027 because technical education, the STEM subjects, are what are going to drive our industrialization. The reason why we have 6 new special economic zones is because industrialization is going to be the engine that is going to drive our economy, even as we move from an agro-based economy. We must industrialize. And that is why Kenya is championing the Africa Green Industrialization Initiative, which I am driving at the AU, and we are going to take it to the United General Assembly, because that is the way we want to move the country. In matters education, these are among the things that I agreed and I purposed, and we have provided the resources to transform that sector. Let me see whether I have forgotten anything. I think I have captured most of the things, you know? I think I've captured most of the things. The one thing that I just wanted to give you the beacons of what we are doing in matters education. From making sure that we have adequate resources, we've increased the budget significantly. No other administration has increased the budget that much. We've brought in more teachers, built more classrooms, started, operationalized the Open University of Kenya, which I have told you by December 2026, we will have 100,000 students learning. It will be the biggest university in Kenya by 2026 in just 3 years, because education is important. Knowledge acquisition is important. That is how other countries have driven their own transformation. That is how Singapore left us behind. Malaysia left us behind, because they invested in education. And that is why I moved to the third section of this morning's lesson plan. I said that third section, there are things we have done in education. They are significant. You have participated in those things. But I know you have ideas on how we can make it better. Sindio? You have ideas on how we can make it better. I have gone through it. I have seen that there are some brilliant ideas that you have brought through the MOU the memorandum, sorry, that was sent to me by the associations and the unions. I want now somebody to make a presentation of what you think we can do better to deliver on this very central subject of education. You know, I think one or two of the colleagues here will do that presentation to us. And then from there, I will respond to some of the issues that you have raised. Some of them we can do now. Some of them we can plan to do in the medium term. And I'm sure we will agree on how education is going to play a central role in moving this country to where I want us, all of us, to move the nation to. And then finally, if there will be any questions for me, I will be more than willing to respond or clarify on some issues. And then we will do the final things, alafu tutamaliza. So, who is going to make the presentation of the items that the memorandum, who will do it? You will call them. Yeah, so one or two people can make that presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for those insightful